The Amiga 3000 was the computer that came after the big box Amiga 2000. And yes, it did actually come after the Amiga big box 2500. So Commodore shipped an Amiga 2000 with a 68030 and they called it the Amiga 2500. And then they came out with the Amiga 3000, which was a full Zorro 3 32-bit 68030 Commodore Amiga. And it came in a 16 megahertz flavor, and it came in a 25 megahertz flavor, but it was full Zorro 3, ECS, enhanced chipset, all the cool modes like, Super 72 mode and multi-scan mode, all the cool things. It had a built-in hardware flicker fixer, and it was amazing. It was like the coolest thing ever. And when I was about to spend a bunch of money on an Amiga back in the day, so again, as I always say, rewind the time. I had a pile of cash available to me due to really, dark circumstances that I don't want to discuss right now, but I had a pile of cash available to me, and I actually went into the Amiga dealer in Michigan and I said, hey, I want to buy an Amiga 2500 because I hear that's the greatest and latest amazing Amiga, and it's got the toaster. And they were like, no, don't buy the Amiga 2500. You want the Amiga 3000. The Amiga 3000 has all of the cool new things. 32 bits, ECS, flicker fixer, expansion. Oh, yes. So I bought the Amiga 3000 and a 1950 monitor, a 52 meg hard drive with 4 megs of RAM. So for most Amiga folks, the Amiga 3000 was one of those computers that was like, okay, Commodore has a new computer. They're always releasing new computers. But over in Europe, you had the 1000, you had the 500, and then the 2000 came out, but you're like, why do I need a 2000? I mean, it has expansion, has more expansion. You're playing games, you're coding demos. As I've said repeatedly on this channel, in the American market, the Amiga computer was the poor man's SGI. It was the poor man's, Silicon Graphics, workstation extraordinaire, right? So when the 2000 came out, it was a huge deal in America because, the toaster helped push that, but there were so many other products besides the video toaster that came out. The Amiga 3000 came out, and it was like this super awesome high-tech advanced machine with the super fast, 25 megahertz, 68030. Yes, it was like as I said, there was a 16 megahertz 68030, but most folks in the United States optioned the 68030 at 25, flicker fixer, so you could hook it up to conventional VGA monitors, and it was like this amazing like workhorse, desktop productivity type system, and also graphics workstation. The Amiga 3000 was just an incredible evolution in what you could get. I mean, there was Macs and PCs. The PCs were just really, they were just trash back then compared to what Amiga and Mac were doing. The Macs were pretty cool. Honestly, the Macs at the same time that the Amiga 3000 was out, they were actually okay, but they were actually so much more money, like way more money. Some people are like, well, the Amiga 3000 is really expensive, and yeah, but the Macs were more expensive. So the Amiga 3000 was this amazing, modern day. At the time, it was like, if you're going to do graphics or sound, if you're trying to be a creative person and use your computer to, make some kind of amazing new independent film using your computer, the Amiga 3000, it fit the bill perfectly because it could do all of that out of the box. Yeah, you had to buy software. Of course you had to buy software, but it did include Amiga Vision, and Amiga Vision actually kind of let you edit video in a weird way. Like you could edit video and add transitions and things. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, the Amiga 3000 is definitely a productivity computer. You don't need an Amiga 3000 to play video games. Could the Amiga 3000 play video games? Of course. And if you're into like the simulation games like Flight of the Intruder or Combat Air Patrol, Falcon, whatever, yeah, it'll play those games really smooth and awesome. But that's not what this machine was about. This machine was about programs like Art Department Professional, where you could load in and do a bunch of amazing things. You could use Fred, or you could fire up, you know, good old-fashioned, as I've said a million times, Lightwave, right? We can do awesome, amazing Lightwave stuff, okay? Or, you know, you can come over here, or programs like TV Paint. Here we go, TV Paint. Yes, show me TV Paint things. Look at that. Oh, yes. It's amazing. The fill tool. Everybody loves the fill tool. But what if you want to do a gradient? Oh, a gradient on an Amiga? That'll take forever. No, not really. Boom. There you go. Gradient, Amiga. Done. Photoshop on the Amiga. But yeah, so the Amiga 3000 is definitely a workstation. It's not a gaming machine. The Amiga 3000, if you're in the Amiga market and you're shopping on YouTube or AmiBay or wherever the heck you're shopping, don't buy an Amiga 3000 to just play video games. So many people are like, I want an Amiga 3000, I want to play video games. Look, cool. Get an Amiga 500 Mini, get Pi Amiga, buy an Amiga 500 or Amiga 600 with a couple mods, you know, like the A630 and a hard drive and WHD load. If you're going to buy a big box Amiga, like an Amiga 3000 or an Amiga 2000 or an Amiga 2500 or an Amiga 4000, and if for some reason you're just like, you know, rich beyond belief and you have an Amiga 3000 Tower or 4000 Tower, these are not gaming machines, okay? So I'm gonna get a little controversial here. If you're buying a big box Amiga, you know, you want to play games on it. I mean, of course you can. You can do what the heck you want. But that's not what the big box Amigas were designed for. They were designed to run creative software, whether you're desktop publishing, doing audio, doing 3D, doing 2D animation. That's the big box Amigas are for. They are for doing awesome stuff like we have seen endlessly on this channel, where I load up amazing, cool, Lightwave 3D things and render them. That's the big box Amigas are for. Now, I know that might sound kind of controversial, like, well, who are you to tell me what my Amiga is for? I'm just saying, if you want to play Amiga video games, I mean, really, if you just want to play Amiga video games, just get WinUEE or Amiga Forever and play games. But if you want the actual hardware, right, you want the hardware, Amiga 500, Amiga 600, Amiga 1200, great gaming machines. CD32, of course. But the big box Amigas, those are for folks that are wanting to invest in expansion cards. They want to try other things. And it's not just graphics and sound, by the way. There's a lot of other expansion cards available for the big box Amigas. They have nothing to do with video and audio. But because I'm making this video, that's what I know. You know, that's what I care about. And the big box Amigas let you get into this whole, you know, powerhouse accelerator cards, memory expansion cards, video output cards, video encoder cards, toasters, switchers, EGS, all that stuff. Okay? That's what the big box Amigas are for. Can you get a big box Amiga and just play games on it? Yeah, but really, you know, it's almost like it's sitting there going, but why? But why is that all you're doing? I can do so much more. This is an Amiga 3000, but it's actually, for those of you that watch my channel regularly, you know this is not an Amiga 3000. This is a Re-Amiga 3000. What's a Re-Amiga 3000, Q? It's an Amiga 3000 using a completely modern redesigned motherboard by John Hertel. John Hertel is a Viking over the pond, across the seas, doing amazing Viking Amiga things, designing new boards. What he has done is designed a motherboard that takes all of the original chips that the Amiga 3000 used. He designed the board, and he puts all these original chips in there, okay? He puts them all in there. Chip, 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 chip. And then he does a couple different things, like the memory. He's like, oh, the original Amiga 3000 memory kind of sucked. It was like zip chips. Google it. Zip chips. Yeah, they're terrible. So he replaced the zip chips with Sims. And then he also kind of messed with the ROM that came with the Amiga. He has a cool little switchable ROM thing. But other than that, it's basically a completely, you know, original Amiga 3000 motherboard with some cool modern, you know, twists and flares with all the original chips in it. So that's what this is. This is not an original Amiga 3000. It's a Re-Amiga 3000 that I'm showing here and talking about. But the point is, it's still a 3000, and if you're going to spend all the money, if you're going to go into eBay or AmiBay, whatever, and you're going to spend money on an Amiga, if you just want to play video games, just stick to the 500s, the 1200s, the 600s, the Amiga 500 minis. Unless you're, you know, broken in the head like I am and others are, steer clear of the big box Amigas. Why do you want a big box Amiga? You want an Amiga 3000, Amiga 4000, an Amiga 2000 to play Elite, to play Super Frog? No. Or Shadow of the Beast or Gods? No. You can do that with a lot less. The big box Amigas are, they're like the creative beasts. They're the workhorses. They're the stalwart, you know, guardians of everything creative. Like they're saying, hey, all of my brothers and sisters are out there doing what they do, entertaining the masses, but we're here to make amazing things that will show the world why Amiga matters. Thanks for watching. I'm done with this video.